Hello guys, it is Aurora today for you, another one of those reading wrap-ups. Today's books 101 to 105, no 20s at all in here. But tape today is Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time. This was my very first Iron Maiden album that I really started listening to because this is like my first tape I got of theirs. Obviously I knew stuff like, like Run to the Hills, but this was the first time I'd really sat down and listened to Iron Maiden was with this album, so that's kind of fun. When did it come out? 80s? 1986. Good year for albums. I don't know how it was otherwise. I was not born yet. But today, books 101 to 105. First up, I've got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one got a lot of hype last year. I think it came out last year, but it was very hyped up. It is basically a fictionalization, or very inspired by Fleetwood Mac kind of situation. It's about a rock band in the 70s. It's about how they were kind of doing all right, and then this one girl came in to help kind of split the vocals with the main guy, and she just kind of took them to another level. And it's about like the band politics, that it's about their relationships within the band, it's about music, it's about love, it's about life. It was really good. Honestly, I think I was a little bit predisposed to enjoy this one because I do like things that do focus in a lot on music. However, it was just good, man. Like, I do think that it was definitely deserved at least a good 2/3 of that hype that it got. I really loved it. It's written like a oral history, so it's like a bunch of different interviews with all these members of this band and like members of like their crew and stuff like that. I did film a full review on this one, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to talk here, but I did like how the stories did differ from kind of band member to band member because I either remember different things or saw different perspectives of it. I like that a lot. I love the characters, I love the writing. It said a lot of really interesting and good things about like creating things, being an artist, whatever. I enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was a good one. I think it's one of like 2 books this year that have made me cry also, so it's got that going for it. After that, I read Dumplin by Julie Murphy. This is, so this very recently got a Netflix adaptation. I think I also did a review of this one, but this is a young adult novel following this overweight girl who decides that she is going to kind of join in the beauty pageant, kind of despite her mother, because her mother's this big beauty queen kind of thing. And it's about her kind of acceptance of everything and people accepting her as in like challenging beauty standards or whatever. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. This isn't my first Julie Murphy book. I read Side Effects May Vary, and the same thing was true there that is true here. Julie Murphy is very good at writing unlikable main characters. I did not like Willow Dean very much, but I do think that she was written very well, very realistically, and I think that that's something that Julie Murphy is very good at. She's a good writer too, a good writing style. It is not something that is something I'm very familiar with, both in terms of like beauty pageant stuff. It also takes place in like Texas, which I'm not super familiar with the culture in Texas. I would assume that it's closer to the culture in North Dakota than the culture in, say, New York City is, but it's still like a whole different ballgame. But I liked the writing, I liked the main character. I think I gave it 3 or 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't unenjoyable. There were just a lot of parts in it that were just kind of not interesting to me. So then I read me a Stephen King book. I read The Institute, which is, I think, it's not the most recent one. That's If It Bleeds, but it came out last year, I believe. It came out 2019. This is, I think, again, I'm pretty sure I filmed a review of this one, but this is about this boy who gets kind of kidnapped in the middle of the night and taken to this institute where there are a bunch of other kids, and they all are, it's a little bit special, like they've all got a little bit like kind of special powers kind of things. It does remind me both a lot of like Firestarter and also of the Breakers and the Dark Tower series, so there's that. But it's about him, and it's like a very like awful place for these children, and it's about them trying to kind of escape, figure out what's going on, get out of there. I enjoyed it. It's hard. I mean, I always love Stephen King. I always enjoy Stephen King. Like, the writing is always very good. Like, Stephen King's writing, I know I've said it about a million times, his writing at this point just kind of feels like home to me. So I'm always going to enjoy a Stephen King book. I did like this one a lot. I did like I really enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the setting. I liked it. I think Stephen King still does a really good job when it comes to writing children characters. He's always been good at that, and he still is. Nicky was that his name? I liked him a lot. He was my favorite. He was fantastic. He was interesting. Yep, Nicky. But I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the plot. I do enjoy the kind of Dark Tower implications that this book has, because when you're reading Stephen King, you always have to keep the Dark Tower in mind, because it's all, you know, part of the wheel or whatever. I liked it a lot. But speaking of, I'm wearing my long walk t-shirt today, so that's fun. But no, I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Maybe I gave it 5. I'm not sure. One of those two. I enjoyed it. I don't remember if I had kind of thought of it as one of my future favorites. But then I read a young adult horror novel that is Sleepless by Lou Morgan. This is actually a book that Sarah Hall, who is a very frequent commenter on these videos and always has really great comments, who sent me. This is a young adult horror novel. It's about this like group of teenagers that is trying to study for this test, and it's a very important test. They have to really pass it, and so they start taking basically what they think are just kind of like caffeine pills, but they're supposed to like make you like focus better, stay awake longer, and then really creepy shit starts happening. First of all, I knew going into this was that Sarah had said that this was like surprisingly gory. I couldn't eat while reading parts of this book, which is honestly at this point like I'm good with the gore. I love gore. Gore is like both like on screen and on page. Gore is like one of my favorite things. Like, I mean, like a favorite horror movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, but there was some intense gore here. I'm still not 100% sure what was going on at the end. I couldn't tell you. It was kind of weird, but I did very much enjoy it, and I do want to pick up more books from this press. This is a Red Eye Press. It's a British imprint of something. I think horror imprint of something, because this one was honestly, it was a pretty good one. I did very much enjoy it, and I'm very, very thankful to Sarah for sending it to me, because it was creepy and it was gory, and honestly I cannot stress that gore enough. I just remember trying to read this on my break at work. This is when I still worked at the pizza place. I just, you know, just read, and I have what I would do is I would make salads, basically chips, chicken, normally either pickles, olives, or pineapple, or pickles and olives, and then cheddar cheese on top. That's what it was. It was a salad without any real vegetables, and I was, you know, trying to read this and eat, and I had to put it down because I couldn't do both. But I think I gave it 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. It was a fun one. I really, really enjoyed it. So there's this one. And lastly, I reread a book that I read in high school, and that is The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. This is the second book in the Maze Runner trilogy, which was a young adult dystopian series back when all those were coming out. And the one thing that this really distressed me was just how messy these books were. I read all of these books. I through the kill order even. I read the prequel book. I really liked Newt. He was my favorite character. But my God, especially after the first book, these books were just so messy and all over the place and not that great. And apparently also the author is not a great person either. Like one of those, you know, sexual assaulty kind of guys. But no, it's not that good. It is messy. It's weird. I do like the descriptions are pretty good, but overall the series and the books are not great. Like the first book, if I'm remembering right, was pretty solid. I might be wrong on that. It's been a long time since I've read it, but it really honestly just, it felt really didn't think about how he was plotting stuff out and whatever. It was weird. I think I give it 2 stars, maybe 3 if I was feeling generous. But so these are books 101 to 105. That is all for today. I will see you later, and goodbye.